Welcome everyone to the video. Welcome to the channel. Gonna switch gears a little bit and kind of go back to talking about the conflict in the Middle East. I know I already did a video on this, but I kind of want to dig a little deeper and kind of peel back the layers, uh, give you my opinions, my thoughts. This channel is geared towards talking about, what's happening in the news, politics, religion, those things that you're not supposed to talk about around the dinner table at night. And so we like to get into those topics here and give you my thoughts and opinions on everything going on, especially right now with the conflict in the Middle East. And we're currently seeing, you know, the most obvious that gas prices are starting to go up, and nobody really explains exactly why that in a way that makes sense. They'll say things like tensions in the Middle East, global instability, but that doesn't, feel real until you're, paying for it at the pump, putting gas in your car more than the week before. And the truth is you're paying for war, even if you don't realize it, not directly, but through the system that we all live in. And, I want to talk about that, not just the war itself, but why it matters to you, your wallet, of course, and, and your way of life. So let's just start simply. When conflict breaks out in the Middle East, especially in regions tied to oil, market reacts instantaneously. Not because oil is gone, not but it's because of instability or uncertainty. Sorry, uncertainty, and uncertainty is incredibly expensive. Prices start to go up based on what might happen, not just on what is happening. And once they go up, they don't come down nearly as fast. That's just how the system works. So even if nothing directly changes overnight, you still feel it when you're putting gas in the pump, at the grocery store, because those groceries have to get there. In shipping, USPS just announced an 8% increase because of gas. It's in everything. And so this is the part that a lot of people don't think about, that gas prices aren't just local, they're global. I You might live in the United States, but you're not buying gas from your neighborhood. You're buying into a global system. Oil is traded worldwide, prices are influenced worldwide. So when something happens across the world, it doesn't just stay there. It comes here too. That's why something happening thousands of miles away can affect what you pay tomorrow. And this is where it gets uncomfortable, because the next question becomes, why is the United States even involved in these situations at all? A lot of people look at it and say, why are we over there? Why are we involved in this? And on the surface, a very fair question. But when you zoom out, the US isn't just reacting emotionally, it's protecting its interests, its trade routes, energy flow, global stability. Because whether I like it, whether you like it, whether we like it or not, we are deeply tied into this global system. We're not just watching it, we're part of what keeps it running. And if that system gets disrupted, you feel it almost immediately. Think about your daily life for a second, the things that you buy, the prices you come to expect, and the very convenience that you're used to, having items delivered to your door, within 24 hours. It all depends on trade, goods moving freely, energy moving freely, supply chains working the way they're supposed to. When those things are stable, life is normal, life is good. But that stability doesn't just happen, it needs to be maintained. And sometimes it needs to be maintained politically, economically, and, unfortunately, sometimes through conflict. This is the part I think most people don't fully see. Uh, because I think, and I believe we live in a bubble here in the United States. We're not, we're used to things just working. We're used to opportunity. I'm in Silicon Valley. I hear so many, how all these tech companies like HP started right in their garage. You can start a business in your garage, start a business in your room. You could just list items online and start selling them. You could start building things and selling those. That's just normal here. In many parts of the world, that's not normal at all. There's so many barriers, regulations, corruption, instability, things that make even basic opportunity extremely difficult. So when people say, America is the land of opportunity, very cliche until you actually compare it to the rest of the world. And then you truly realize it's not just a phrase, it is real. This leads to the hard truth that people don't like to talk about. Nobody, nobody wants a war. Uh, Nobody looks at conflict and say, hey, this is a good thing. But sometimes it's tied to protecting systems that people rely on every single day. Not because people want conflict, but because instability has a cost. And, that cost shows up in your life. Y- your opportunities, your ability to live the way you're used to living. And, so when prices go up, when we feel things get more expensive, when the world feels unstable, it's easy to look at it and think that has nothing to do with me. But it does, because that system, that one that we rely on, it doesn't just run on its own. We sit here in comfort debating politics and arguing sides, but most of us have never experienced what it looks like when these systems actually break down. And maybe that's why we don't fully understand, what it takes to hold them together. Um, I see everything. I see, I'm watching the news. I have the news on all the time. I see what's going on, and I see the conflict affecting all the people over there. And, it hurts, it's not, I'm human just like everybody else. And I don't want to see this happening. I don't want to see this continuing longer than it absolutely has to. But again, this is the system that we live in. And hopefully something good comes out of this. Our lives here, once the conflict ends, our lives will go back to normal. The people over there, it's gonna be up in the air. It's gonna be, what's next for them. If we depose the entire leadership over there, we have to think about we go back to normal. We go back to, I think some of us are already back to normal. But, you know, those people over there that are affected by this war, that are directly affected by this war, we have to think about them as well too. They are our fellow humans here on Earth, and maybe I'll dive deeper into that in another video, not at this time, but definitely gets me emotional. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I know I got some new subscribers here to this channel, and welcome, welcome. This is what we do. We tackle those tough topics, even if we get a little emotional about them. We're all human around here. Okay. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.